This video shows excerpts from the Science, Myth, Magic, and Mystery class, and we've come together using consciousness in our bodies and beyond to be able to explore some deeper historical fractals and patterns that are influencing the world today. This particular class, we looked at Donald Trump in the U.S. presidential election. What we did is we created 16 representations, and we assigned them to people without them knowing what they were representing. So the first round of reports that you're going to see are reports from people who were asked to step into the field, but they didn't know what they were representing, and then they share what their reports were.
There's someone squeezing my neck. I'm being bottled, and I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do. A lot of pressure. I'm under a big pressure. There's no way.
I'm very happy, a little bit impatient. When people talk about sadness and discomfort, I cannot really understand. Yeah, I'm not really in empathy with all this.
Yeah, I feel like a really small child walking in this long, long line of people that have no idea what's going on, and it's terrifying me that everyone is so lost. I just want to cry and scream.
I feel kind of disenfranchised maybe, but there's an awful lot of justification that's saying I shouldn't be, or no you aren't, or something like that. And then maybe as a result is a restlessness starts to really get going.
I've felt a lot of homicidal and suicidal rage that I don't think can be expressed.
Donald Trump's mother, Mary MacLeod, was born in a Gaelic community in the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland. Her parents were internally displaced refugees from the Highlands who had been thrown off their land by landlords who were backed by the English government and charged with making the land as profitable as possible, and it meant getting rid of the peasants who had lived on it for centuries.
It's feeling a deep sort of a sadness, slumped, a bit of grief. Coco jumped on my lap as soon as I started representing, and this is my main focus.
The light, it was so painful to my eyes. I'm kind of in the corner hiding between the wall and my couch, and I just don't want to be seen, and I don't want to see it.
And then I had this rising sensation in my upper back, like the back of my chest, that I immediately knew was grief. I was sort of torn between feeling it and pushing it down. I felt like I need to feel it, but it's too much.
Donald Trump's father's father, who you saw with the cat in his lap, was born in Germany. He ran away from the German army and came to New York. He then went to the West Coast, where he owned a series of brothels for the gold miners, providing them with prostitutes, and he made a fortune at that, came back to New York, and invested that money in low-income rental housing. He died of the Spanish flu in 1918, leaving a young son who was the person who felt the grief welling up in him. That man, Fred Trump, and his mother took over the business and built it into a substantial real estate empire of low-income rental housing in the New York area.
I'm very anchored. My body is very steady, like a tree.
People were surprised, maybe even a little bit shocked to find out that the representative who was filled with energy and didn't understand why people felt so sad or upset, had no empathy, that was Donald Trump. And that a year from now, he was anchored and strong like a tree. And that the election felt like it was being choked and held back, and there was no way. Now, this is not necessarily a way of predicting the future, but it is a very accurate and remarkable depiction of the entanglements of the family system. The grandfather, who started the family fortune with houses of prostitution, a pussycat jumped into his lap at the beginning, and he was stroking it, and that's all he was interested in. And Donald Trump has some of those same qualities. And his mother was filled with homicidal and suicidal rage. And sometimes, if you notice, her voice comes out of his mouth. And we know those aspects of him, but what we don't see are the grandmothers. We don't see the wife of the whorehouse owner who doesn't want to be seen and doesn't want to see it. We don't see the orphan, the refugee from the displacement by the landlords of the Highland clearances, who felt herself in the dark with a long line of people. And she just wanted to scream and cry. Guilt, when it's not acknowledged, gets passed on to the children as shame. And grief, when it's not allowed to be expressed, hardens in the body. And it turns into rage. And shame and rage, when they're not giving avenues to heal, they will become expressed as violent aggression. And that's where we are as a nation. And these entanglements are not only out there. The shadow perpetrator is within us as well. So there are opportunities for us to start working with our shadow perpetrator, to be able to trace the origins of our shame and our rage, and to find the ancestors within us and around us that need to be seen and acknowledged. And we can do some real healing work for them. And perhaps in that way, we can contribute to the larger healing of the collective.